Hey, I'm Lydia, and recently I bought some craft supplies from Temu because I want to see how they compare to more popular brands. So in this video, I'm comparing alcohol inks that I found on Temu to Ranger brand alcohol inks that I've used time and time again to find out which one comes out on top. If you're new to my channel, make sure to tap the subscribe button below so you don't miss any of the videos in this series. All right, let's get started. First, I want to see how the inks perform on paper. For this test, I'm using watercolor paper and 3 similar colors of ink from both brands. First up is the Temu ink. I'm using the colors peach, purple, and apple green. Next, for the Ranger ink, I'm using raspberry, purple twilight, and limeade. I added a drop of each of the inks to the watercolor paper and allowed them to spread and dry a little. Now, as we're looking at the finished product, you can see that the Temu inks have a bit of, I guess, sediment or something. I really don't know what it is. The reason why I think there's sediments is because on the bottle, it says to shake very well before using, which I did. And yet still I have that weird concentrated circle in the middle. Another drawback for the Temu brand is I didn't feel like the color on the bottle actually lined up with the color inside the bottle. So with the purple, you can see here that it's this like concentrated center, but then the outer rim is like super light. And then with the green apple color, I thought it would be closer to the limeade color. Like I'm thinking like sour green apple, like a lighter, brighter green. Yet the color that came out of the bottle was a lot darker than I was expecting. When we compare to the Ranger inks, you can see that the Ranger inks are smooth and saturated all the way through. There's no blotchiness or sediment or grittiness. The color is just pure. So for this test, I can say with all confidence that Ranger wins the gold star. Next, I wanted to see how the inks performed in epoxy resin. So I went ahead and mixed some resin up, and I used all 3 colors like I did before, and also incorporated the Ranger white pigment as a sinker pigment. And these are the results. The Temu brand is on top and the Ranger ink brand is on the bottom. Now it's kind of hard to judge alcohol inks in resin, but what I wanted to see was a nice drop effect. I wanted to see the swirling and the blending with the colors around it. I wanted to see the dimension that alcohol inks can have. And I saw that from both of the inks. I will say that the Ranger inks blended better with the other colors. That allows for that like tie-dye effect. Like I feel like the Ranger inks move with each other better and blend with each other better as well. Whereas the Temu brands are very pigmented in the resin, but I didn't really see them blend with one another in the same way. My final thoughts on this alcohol ink battle is that the Ranger inks win for me. I like that I can depend on the quality and the colors, the saturation. I can use them on paper crafting or resin crafting. I love the versatility. But if I were just starting out in resin crafting and I didn't have a lot of money to pour into it, I would go with the Temu brand because it's an affordable value brand that will allow me to play with colors and techniques as well. It really depends on the project and the desired results and the technique that you're using. For example, I know that if I want to replicate the results from this project, where it's highly pigmented and the colors blend beautifully, I'm going to have to use my Ranger alcohol inks. And if you want to learn how to make these too, watch this video next.